We also want to express our appreciation to each of the leaders from the university and also from the March of the Living and the Raoul Wallenberg Centre for Human Rights, who have participated in the excellent preparation of today's symposium, not only the logistical thinking, but the deep thinking that went into preparing this excellent program to focus in on 80 years since the institution of the Nuremberg Laws, 70 years since the Nuremberg Trials. During that span of history, those 10 years, the destruction of human life, the destruction and fabric of the family, the destruction of civilization as we knew it and as we know it. There is indeed a double entendre, hate and justice. To address those issues today, we invite two of our esteemed colleagues, Professor Irwin Cotler and Professor Alan Dershowitz.
Thank you, Richard. As you put it, we meet at an important moment of remembrance and reminder of the 80th anniversary of the Nuremberg Race Laws, which became prologue and precursor to the Holocaust, of the 70th anniversary of the Nuremberg Trials, which became metaphor and message for the emergence of international humanitarian and international criminal law. And so, at this historic juncture, we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we have learned? And no less important, what is it that we must do? May I summarize several historical lessons to be learned and acted upon, so that never again does not become again and again and again, so that it is not a slogan, but a responsibility to act. First is the importance of remembrance, le devoir de mémoire, of the remembrance of horrors too terrible to be believed, but not too terrible to have happened. Of 6 million Jews and millions of non-Jews murdered, and this not just a question of abstract statistics, but as one says at such moments of remembrance, unto each person there is a name. Each person is an identity. Each person is a universe, reminding us of the words of our sages, if you save a single person, it is as if you have saved an entire universe. Just as if you kill a single person, it is as if you have killed an entire universe. And so the abiding imperative that we are each, wherever we are, the guarantors of each other's destiny. The second lesson is that the Holocaust and the genocides that followed occurred not simply because of the machinery of death, but because of state-sanctioned ideologies of hate and incitement. It is this teaching of contempt, this demonizing of the other, this is where it all begins. As the Supreme Court of Canada put it so well, the Holocaust did not begin in the gas chambers, said the court. It began with words. And so here too, the abiding imperative that must be acted upon. That incitement to genocide is a crime in and of itself, whether or not acts of genocide follow. Itself another important principle and precedent of the Canadian Supreme Court and international jurisprudence. A third lesson is the centrality of anti-Semitism, the oldest and most enduring of hatreds, and indeed the most lethal. 1.3 million people were murdered at Auschwitz. 1.1 million of them were Jews. Here again, let there be no mistake about it. Jews were murdered at Auschwitz because of anti-Semitism. But anti-Semitism did not die at Auschwitz. And as we have learned only too tragically and too well, that while it begins with Jews, it doesn't end with Jews. A fourth lesson is the danger of indifference and inaction in the face of genocide and mass atrocity. What makes the Holocaust and the genocide in Rwanda, and we are commemorating also the 22nd anniversary of the mass murder in Rwanda. What makes these genocides so unspeakable is not only the horror of the genocides itself, but that these genocides were preventable. Nobody could say that we did not know. We knew, but we did not act. Just as in the case of Darfur, nobody could say we did not know. We knew, but we did not act. And so the responsibility to protect individually and collectively as a compelling normative and juridical precedent. Fifth is the whole question of the imperative of bringing war criminals to justice. If the 20th century was the age of atrocity, it was also the age of impunity. Few of the perpetrators were brought to justice. And so, just as there can be no base or sanctuary for racism and hate, so there can be no base or sanctuary for these hostis humanus generis, these enemies of humankind. Again, let there be no mistake about it. The culture of impunity emboldens the war criminal and encourages crimes against humanity. And finally, let us always remember and honor the survivors amongst us, for they endured the worst of man's inhumanity to man. But somehow they found in the resources of their own humanity the will and the capacity to go on, to build their societies, to build their families anew, to make enduring contribution wherever they are amongst us. And so we remember and in concert with you pay tribute to them. Thank you.